Hello and welcome everyone to Leaders Talks, where we chat with members of ETF.com's top 100 leaders list. I'm Kristin Myers, editor-in-chief of ETF.com, here today with Brent Chappell. He's the managing partner and founder of Chappell Wealth Management. Thank you so much for joining us, Brent.
Kristin, thank you for the opportunity. Happy to get to engage.
Oh, absolutely. So I love asking this question, which is how you even got started as a financial advisor. What really sort of prompted you down this journey, since it's never, I think, the career that 5-year-olds or 8-year-olds say that they want to do at career day when they're younger.
I may be the exception there. I had the great fortune to be born into a family where my dad was a financial advisor. So he moved down to Houston in the early 80s and saw in the local paper that Merrill Lynch was opening an office. And despite no background in the field, he went in and applied. And they rolled the dice and took a chance on him. And so I kind of grew up in the 80s with kind of normal childhood, watched cartoons, but then there was these little anecdotes that dad would sprinkle in about asset allocation and diversification. And so there was maybe a little bit more of that in my childhood than some other kids had.
So you had a little bit of a head start, which is always a good thing.
I think one, being naturally curious and then just being exposed to anything in your childhood. I think a lot of kids try to or want to emulate their parents, largely because that's all they know. That's all they're exposed to. Or, firemen, policemen, whatever that is. But I remember being in like elementary school and they had an opportunity to bring your parent to school with you that day. And my dad he wasn't a policeman. He didn't have the cool job. But I remember he looked at all of the kids in the room, the little 12 and 13-year-olds, and told all of us that if we could all be millionaires, if we would commit to saving and investing 10% of our lifetime earnings. And just like that, you can imagine how that resonates with the 12-year-old, 13-year-old, that they could be a millionaire. And that sort of just started the interest. And, seeing my dad's career and hearing him talk about helping clients achieve goals, that was just fun and inspiring, and, just created an interest in this field that grew throughout college and then, early on in my professional career.
So I'm not sure how long your dad was a financial advisor, and if ETFs was something that he talked to you about, but you're part of the reason you're on this list is because you utilize ETFs in your client portfolios. Why do you like ETFs so much?
Yeah, the simple answer is that they provide, in our opinion, a massive advantage in terms of cost and tax efficiency. And, I've been in this industry for 2.5 decades, and we've used, mutual funds and UITs and SMAs. But the data set that is available, it's hard to argue with the data that comes from using index funds. And even the most sophisticated modeling that we can do in planning for clients is really predicated on us being able to achieve market returns. And the more that we deviate from those, the less confidence we should have in the planning. And again, it's just tough to argue with the data. There's arguably no right way to invest. There probably are some wrong ways. But this is a pretty compelling value proposition when you can, at the click of a button, have very broad diversification or very, very narrow, very, very specific, and really without embedded tax liabilities. It's hard to overstate the value of that evolutionary product in this industry, in my opinion.
Do you have a favorite ETF?
Hard to say favorite, right? We're fiduciaries. We try to be unbiased, but I think if we didn't go out and just sort of nod our cap to the original SPY that is sort of ubiquitous with ETFs, at least in my mind, I think they just lost the title for most AUM, but still the most broadly traded, biggest volume.
Yes, VOO did kind of take the throne from SPY, and they've since been sort of duking it out every other week. So feel free to check out ETF.com if you're watching this, because we are keeping up with that sort of battle. But yes, SPY is the OG or the grandfather of ETFs for sure.
You gotta respect that.
You gotta take your cap off to it. So this is going to be my last question, but it's personally my favorite because I love to hear about just sometimes the mistakes that we all make when it comes to money. So what would you say is either the worst or the silliest or funniest sort of mistake, if you want to call it that you've ever made with money?
I think tough to pinpoint the number one, but certainly as I look back at my career and things that I had learned from, I spent over 20 years working at a big financial firm.
Mhm.
And there's so much great that came from that. I mean, great resources, great planning, great training. Um, but we always felt the call to go do something else a little bit different. And over time, sometimes your voice sometimes felt a little bit muffled in a large bureaucratic environment. So a couple of years ago, we took a leap of faith and started our own business, and it has been just so humbling. The support from clients and community and friends. That's something I wish we would have believed in ourselves maybe a little bit earlier on. And
Yeah.
when you've had a long career in an industry, I think unfortunately, you can get comfortable, maybe even complacent, and you know how to operate, you know how to work things and do things, and you've got a process. But I think going through a transition like that, our clients now get a re-engaged, best version of us. And we analyzed and panicked and worried about that for so long. But I wish it's something that we would have been willing to believe in ourselves,
Yeah.
make a bet on ourselves, and do a little bit earlier.
All right. Well, that was all Brent Chappell, Chappell Wealth Management. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.